All right, let's dive in. We're looking today at a region that's been, well, let's just say it's a political pressure cooker, a
Definitely.
place where tensions, they run consistently high, and it feels like almost every decision sparks some kind of debate, often a really fiery one.
Indeed. And today we're zooming in on West Bengal, India, specifically that period between 2024 and 2025, looking at the political and social scene.
Yeah, and this deep dive, it's based on a pretty detailed report, one that really tries to pull back the curtain on the Mamata Banerjee-led Trinamool Congress government, the TMC.
Right. And it covers a lot of the significant controversies, the incidents that have unfolded over the last year or so.
So our goal here, for you listening, is really to cut through some of that noise.
Exactly. We want to unpack the most crucial developments. Everything from standoffs in the legislature right through to those high-profile arrests.
The idea is to give you a clearer picture, help you grasp the complex dynamics, and understand what's really driving those headlines you might be seeing out of West Bengal.
Okay, so let's maybe set the scene a bit first.
Good idea. Because for, over a decade now? Since 2011,
Mm.
Mamata Banerjee's TMC has been the dominant force there, no question.
Absolutely dominant. And historically, their platform, it's leaned heavily on, welfare schemes, social programs, a very strong populist approach.
But things have changed, haven't they? Or at least shifted.
That's what's striking, yeah. While that welfare focus is still there the last few years, they've just seen this dramatic surge in political polarization.
You mean the rivalry mainly with the BJP?
Primarily, yes. It's become this fierce, almost relentless rivalry between the TMC and the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP. And this dynamic, it's not just background noise.
No, it seems central.
It is central to understanding pretty much everything else that's happening in the state right now.
And you can really feel that tension spilling over, can't you? Into, well, almost every part of governance.
Wow.
This 2024-2025 period, it feels particularly tumultuous.
It really does. Several incidents, policy decisions.
Yeah.
They've really fanned the flames of these political divisions.
And one of the most visible places for that, the state assembly itself.
That's a crucial battleground. The West Bengal Assembly, it's become known for frequent disruptions, protests, largely led by the BJP's MLAs.
Right. I remember reading about June 2025, the monsoon session.
Exactly. That was a stark example. BJP MLAs, they staged a walkout right during Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's speech.
And the issue was funding, wasn't it? Central funds?
Yeah, their grievance was about the alleged freezing of central funds meant for various state projects.
And that walkout, it didn't just end there, did it? It escalated.
Precisely. That specific protest, it led to the suspension of a BJP MLA. And, well, as you can imagine, that just fueled more demonstrations, more protests from the opposition, both inside the assembly and out on the streets.
Wow. It really shows how high the stakes feel, how even routine stuff can just ignite.
Absolutely. It highlights that level of contention.
And speaking of things igniting, another major friction point seems to be around religious festivals.
Yes. That's a recurring theme. There have been these persistent accusations against the TMC government, claims of interfering with religious freedom, or specifically targeting Hindu sentiments.
Is there a specific example that stands out?
Well, a really significant moment seems to have been in June 2025. The chief minister reportedly objected to the BJP's plans for a Rath Yatra.
A Rath Yatra during other religious celebrations.
Exactly. And this drew immediate, very sharp criticism from opposition leaders. They saw it as a direct attempt to, curtail religious expression.
So this isn't just about party politics then. It taps into much deeper cultural, religious sensitivities.
It absolutely does.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it raises questions, doesn't it, about communal harmony, the state's role in things that are traditionally, well, spiritual matters.
Absolutely. And this often intertwines with those broader concerns about law and order, which unfortunately has been another area of criticism.
Yeah, the state has seen several instances of mob violence, right? And the government's handling of it has come under fire.
Frequently, yes. You can see the real-world impact in incidents like April 2025. There were clashes in Bangar, in South 24 Parganas.
Not just protests, but actual violence.
Yeah, leading to injuries, even police vehicles being torched. And there was this detail in the report, quite eyebrow-raising, actually.
What was that?
The Calcutta High Court reportedly questioned the government's competence after a large mob actually managed to breach a hospital.
Wow, breach a hospital. That's That's not a minor skirmish. That points to serious challenges with public order.
Definitely. And what's fascinating, or perhaps worrying, is how these law and order issues often seem to connect back to accusations of vote bank politics.
Ah, right. And competitive communalism. That phrase keeps coming up.
It does. Both the TMC and the BJP have faced accusations of engaging in this, the idea being that religious identity is allegedly leveraged to consolidate support from specific communities.
So, just so I understand this, it's not just about winning votes in general, but potentially about actively creating or maybe capitalizing on religious division.
That's the accusation, yes.
What does that mean for the average person in West Bengal when so much of the political talk is framed like that?
Well, that's a crucial question, isn't it? It effectively means the political discourse gets increasingly dominated by these issues. Hindu majoritarianism on one side, minority appeasement claims on the other.
And the real-world stuff gets sidelined.
Reportedly, yes. These discussions, while they might be potent for mobilizing voters, they tend to overshadow critical, sort of bread and butter issues. Things like education, healthcare, jobs, the things that impact daily lives.
It just polarizes everything.
Yeah.
It makes it harder to find common ground on those essential services.
Exactly. And that dynamic also spilled over into this whole controversy around the OBC list.
Right, the other backward classes list. That sparked a big row, too.
Yes. And just for context for anyone unfamiliar, OBC, other backward classes, it's a classification in India for groups considered socially and educationally disadvantaged.
And getting on that list means access to certain benefits, quotas.
Precisely. Government benefits, educational quotas, job reservations. So any changes or allegations of favoritism become incredibly contentious.
And the government's stance on the list drew fire from the BJP. When was this?
This was heating up around June 2025. The BJP launched some sharp criticism.
And their accusation was pretty strong, wasn't it? Something about religious conversions?
Very strong. They accused the government of promoting religious conversions by granting OBC status to Christian converts. And they also alleged favoritism towards Muslims already on the state's OBC list.
Was there context for this timing?
Well, yeah. This criticism came right after a significant Calcutta High Court order in May 2025. That order actually canceled a large number of OBC certificates that had been issued since 2010.
Ah, okay. So the court ruling definitely added another layer of complexity to an already very heated debate.
Absolutely.
And sticking with controversial directives, there was that rather interesting circular from the School Education Department, also around June 2025.
Ah, yes, the Chief Minister's books. That certainly raised some eyebrows.
What exactly was the directive?
Well, the circular reportedly required schools to stock 19 specific books, all authored by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, to be eligible for a state grant.
19 books required for a grant.
That was the report, yes. And the opposition, well, naturally, they were quick to jump on it. Accusations of misusing public funds, promoting personal interests.
It's a fascinating example, isn't it, how political influence can kind of trickle down into even school libraries.
It really is.
Okay, so we've talked about controversies within the state's institutions. Let's shift focus now to an issue that, well, it literally draws lines on the map. Illegal immigration.
Yes, this has been a consistent point of friction, often pitting the state government against the central authorities.
And the chief minister has made some strong claims here, too, directed at the central forces.
She has. She squarely accused the Border Security Force, the BSF, which is a central agency, of actually facilitating infiltration from Bangladesh.
Facilitating it. Why?
She claimed it was part of a central government blueprint, specifically designed to discredit her government.
That's a huge allegation.
It is. And then adding to that, in June 2025, she also alleged something else. That Bengali migrant workers, just speaking their native language in other Indian states, were being wrongly identified as Bangladeshis and deported.
And the BJP's response.
They unequivocally rejected those claims.
You can really see how these narratives just feed into those larger political tensions back and forth.
Absolutely. But perhaps nothing brought so many of these threads. The politics, the sensitivities, law and order, freedom of speech together, quite like the Sharmistha Panoli case.
Ah, yes. Can you walk us through the specifics of that, the arrest?
Sure. So early June 2025, Sharmistha Panoli, she's a 22-year-old law student, also a social media influencer. She was arrested by Kolkata police, but actually arrested in Gurugram in Haryana.
Arrested in another state and brought back.
Yes, brought to Kolkata and then remanded to judicial custody for 14 days.
And what exactly was she accused of doing?
The basis was a police complaint filed at Garden Reach Police Station in Kolkata. It accused her of posting a video online that, quote, hurt the religious sentiments of a particular community and promoted hatred and disharmony.
Okay. What was in the video?
Well, the video itself is now deleted, but it reportedly contained controversial, allegedly derogatory comments. And these were linked to something called Operation Sindor.
Operation Sindor. What's that referring to?
It refers to a specific and often quite inflammatory narrative that's gained traction in certain online circles. It alleges a sort of conspiracy where Muslim men supposedly target and convert Hindu women, often through marriage, symbolized by the Sindor.
Right, a very sensitive, divisive topic.
Extremely. And Panoli's comments reportedly touched on this. The reports also mentioned she used abusive language while criticizing Bollywood actors for staying silent on the issue.
Okay, so deeply charged content, abusive language alleged. How did people react to her arrest?
It sparked widespread criticism, particularly from the BJP in West Bengal, who framed it as selective enforcement and, quote, vote bank vendetta.
And the police defense?
The Kolkata police defended the arrest. They stated it was based on legal procedures, arguing that hate speech and abusive language shouldn't be, confused with legitimate freedom of speech.
It really highlights that tightrope, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Between free expression and inciting hatred or hurting sentiments.
Absolutely. And then crucially, the courts weighed in.
Which often adds a really important perspective in these cases.
It certainly did here. In a significant development, the Calcutta High Court on June 5th, 2025, granted interim bail to Sharmistha Panoli.
Interim bail. Were there any specific remarks from the court?
Yes, the reports mentioned particularly striking remarks made against the state government and the police actions, questioning the way things were handled, and really highlighting the critical issue of an individual's dignity.
And wasn't there also involvement from the National Human Rights Commission?
That's right. The NHRC also got involved. They issued a notice to the West Bengal Director General of Police.
Why? What was the concern?
The concern was specifically for Panoli's safety. She had allegedly received severe threats, including threats of rape and death, apparently from radical Islamists, following her video and arrest.
Goodness, that whole incident, it really does seem to encapsulate so many of the broader themes we've talked about.
It really does. You've got the allegations of political vendetta, the challenges to law and order, the crucial role the judiciary plays, and that ever-present, really complex interplay between freedom of expression and public sentiment, all happening in this incredibly charged political environment.
Wow. So as you can clearly see, the Mamata Banerjee-led government in West Bengal, it's navigating just an incredibly challenging period, marked by this constant churn of political, social, legal issues.
Yeah, and understanding these specific incidents we've discussed, from those legislative walkouts and the debates over religious freedoms, right through to the, frankly, shocking details of the Sharmistha case and the freedom of speech arguments.
It gives you, listening, a unique lens, doesn't it, into those deep-seated political divisions and what feels like a truly volatile social climate in this really significant Indian state.
Definitely. It paints quite a picture.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the big question is, what does all this mean for the future? I mean, given this pattern we've described, the accusations, the protests, the court interventions, what challenges does West Bengal face in just finding common ground on critical issues like healthcare, infrastructure, jobs?
That is the question. Does this cycle of conflict just become the new normal?
Or can the state somehow, move beyond this intense polarization, especially as it heads towards future elections? Something for you to think about.